Most drivers instantly blame the wrong person. These crashes look obvious until you slow them down. A driver runs a light, a car backs out of nowhere. A truck drifts into a lane that isn't its own. Before you see what happens next, ask yourself, who's actually responsible? 4 real situations, 4 judgment calls. Let's see how many you get right. Today's video breaks down 4 real traffic incidents caught on Dashcam. Before each reveal, pause the video and decide for yourself who you think is at fault. Some are straightforward, others split viewers right down the middle. We're not here to judge anyone personally, just to look at the evidence, the same way an investigator would. Let's start with the first one. A parking lot, daytime. One car, the dashcam vehicle, is driving slowly through the lot, following at a normal distance behind a black Jeep Patriot. Ahead, the lane bends toward a stop sign, next to a marked fire lane. The Jeep moves forward toward the stop sign. Just before reaching it, it suddenly shifts into reverse and begins backing up quickly, aiming toward the fire lane behind it. The dashcam car is still following, a short distance back. The driver has a moment to react. Pause here. Who do you think is at fault? The car following behind or the Jeep backing up? The Jeep reverses abruptly, without any visible pause or hesitation beforehand. There's no visible mirror check or head turn from the Jeep's driver before backing up. The reverse happens fast, almost in one motion. The following car does brake and comes to a stop. A horn is also used, though the Jeep continues reversing regardless. The space the Jeep is backing into isn't a parking space at all. It's a marked fire lane, meaning the Jeep had no clear reason to be reversing into it in the first place. The following distance between the 2 cars is a normal parking lot gap. Close, but typical for slow-moving lot traffic. This one seems clear at first glance, but it's a good example of how insurance evaluations can still assign shared responsibility even when one driver is clearly the primary cause. In this real case, the following driver's insurance initially assigned 25% liability, reasoning that there was enough time to avoid contact entirely. After further review, that same insurer reversed the decision, placing 100% of the fault on the Jeep for reversing, without checking that its path was clear. It's a reminder that who caused the reverse and who technically had time to stop are 2 different questions, and insurers don't always land on the same answer the first time. As always, this is one specific case. Actual fault determinations depend on the jurisdiction, the evidence submitted, and how each insurer interprets right-of-way and duty to avoid a collision. But the next clip is even harder to judge. A 2-lane road, single lane in each direction, separated by a double yellow line. Up ahead, a bus is stopped, not at a marked crosswalk, but at a designated bus stop on the shoulder. As the dashcam car approaches the stopped bus, it crosses the double yellow line into the oncoming lane to pass. At the same time, another vehicle is approaching from the opposite direction, and a pedestrian is crossing near the bus. Pause here. Who do you think is at fault, the dashcam driver or the oncoming driver? The road is marked with a solid double yellow line at the point where the dashcam car crosses over, meaning passing isn't permitted in this stretch, regardless of what's ahead. The dashcam car's speed appears to increase noticeably while passing the bus, rather than slowing down for the stopped vehicle and nearby pedestrian. The oncoming car is traveling in its own lane in a spot where, based on the road markings, it had no reason to expect anyone to be crossing into its path. A pedestrian is visible crossing near the bus stop, adding another factor the passing driver would have needed to account for. Based on what's visible, a solid double yellow line, a no passing zone, increased speed while overtaking, and a pedestrian in the vicinity, the dashcam driver bears the primary responsibility here. Crossing a double yellow to pass a stopped bus, in the presence of oncoming traffic and a pedestrian, is the clearest hazard in this clip. Some viewers pointed out the oncoming driver could theoretically have reacted differently, but there's little evidence here that the oncoming driver did anything to contribute to the situation. They were simply traveling in their own lane. As always, actual fault would depend on the specific traffic code in that jurisdiction, and any additional evidence beyond this footage. A stopped bus is one of the worst places to try to save a few seconds. Between pedestrians, blind spots, and oncoming traffic, you can't fully see around. Passing on a double yellow near a bus stop turns a routine moment into a high-risk one. At first glance, this next one seems obvious. It isn't. A parking lot, daytime. The dashcam car is driving past a row of parked vehicles, including a large pickup truck. Beyond the pickup, a sedan is parked facing outward, nose into its spot. As the dashcam car passes the pickup, the sedan begins backing out of its space. The pickup had been blocking the dashcam driver's view of the sedan until the last moment. The sedan continues reversing and strikes the passenger side of the dashcam car, from the door back to the rear bumper. Pause here. Who do you think is at fault? The dashcam driver passing through the lot or the driver backing out? The dashcam car is already alongside and partially past the parking spot by the time the sedan starts moving. That means the sedan had a clear, unobstructed view of the dashcam car for at least part of its reverse. The point of impact is significant. The damage runs from the door to the rear bumper of the dashcam car, not the front. That tells us the dashcam car was already well into the lane, not just entering it, when contact happened. The pickup truck did block the dashcam driver's line of sight to the sedan until the two vehicles were side by side. A genuine visibility problem, but one that affects what the passing driver could see, not what the backing driver could see. There's no visible pause in the sedan's reverse. It continues backing even as the two vehicles come into contact. Based on the point of impact and the timing, the driver backing out bears the primary responsibility here. The rear half of the dashcam car was well into the lane before contact, meaning the backing driver had the longer window to see the passing car and stop. The blocked sightline from the pickup explains why the passing driver didn't see the sedan sooner. But it doesn't shift the responsibility, since the reversing driver is the one required to confirm their path is clear before continuing to back out, regardless of what's visible to the other driver. As always, actual liability determinations vary by state and insurer, and often come down to exactly this kind of detail, where the damage is, not just what happened. Before we get to the next one, if you're playing along, drop your guess in the comments before you scroll. It's more fun when you commit to an answer first. And if this kind of breakdown is useful, subscribing helps us keep making them. A residential street at night, one lane in each direction. A vehicle is stopped in the travel lane ahead, not pulled into a parking space, with its hazard lights on. The dashcam car passes the stopped vehicle by crossing into the oncoming lane. As it draws alongside, a rear passenger door on the stopped vehicle swings open into the passing lane. The dashcam car strikes the open door. Pause here. Who do you think is at fault? The driver passing by or the passenger who opened the door? The stopped vehicle has its hazard lights on, which signals to other drivers that something unusual is happening and extra caution is warranted. The stopped vehicle isn't pulled over to the curb. It's positioned in the travel lane itself, partially or fully blocking that side of the road. The dashcam car crosses the center line to pass, and its speed doesn't appear to decrease while doing so. If anything, the footage shows the car maintaining or increasing speed through the pass. The door that opens belongs to a rear passenger, who typically has a more limited view of oncoming traffic than a driver checking a side mirror would. There's no clear stopping reason visible for the parked vehicle beyond the hazards themselves. No driveway, no marked loading zone visible in frame. This is a genuinely split case, and it's actually a great example of how who's at fault and who caused the collision aren't always the same question in the eyes of an insurer. In this real case, the passing driver's own insurance company determined that the passing vehicle was at fault, reasoning that a driver overtaking a stopped vehicle with hazards on has a duty to reduce speed and pass with more caution, regardless of the door swinging open. That said, many people looking at this same footage point out that opening a door into a live traffic lane without checking first is its own separate hazard, and in a number of jurisdictions, that action alone can result in a citation for the person who opened the door. Both things can be true at once. The passing driver may bear insurance liability for the collision itself, while the passenger's action remains a genuine contributing factor and, in some places, a ticketable offense on its own. This is exactly the kind of case where the textbook rule and the real-world judgment call don't fully line up, and reasonable people, including insurers, can land in different places. 2 lessons in one clip. If you're passing a stopped vehicle with hazards on, slow down. You don't know why it stopped. And if you're getting out of a car anywhere near a travel lane, check before you open that door. Every time, no exceptions. So, how many did you get right? Some of these were clear, others weren't, and that's the point. Fault isn't always black and white. It depends on local traffic laws, the full evidence available, and details a single camera angle can't always capture. If you spotted something we didn't mention, drop it in the comments. These discussions are often where the most interesting insights come from. Stay safe out there.